New tonight, a Milwaukee man is charged with repeatedly raping a 13-year-old girl and keeping her in a basement. Prosecutors say 37-year-old Antonio Randolph met the girl at a Northside gas station and took her to his grandmother's basement. That's where prosecutors say he forced her to have sex several times. According to the criminal complaint, the girl was, quote, free to walk around but confined to the basement. Investigators say when she asked to use the defendant's phone to call her parents, he refused. Prosecutors also say Randolph loaned the girl to an individual known as Fat, who also raped her. Randolph is being held in the Milwaukee County Jail on a $50,000 bond.
What's up, people? Welcome back to the Guardian File. Back with another video. Before I go any further, make sure you hit that like and sub button. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Mr. Antonio Randolph of Milwaukee was recently arrested for kidnapping and raping, SAing a 13-year-old minor, female. They were luckily spotted at a gas station by one of the family members or friends, or someone that knew of the situation or the child involved. This led to family members coming to the gas station as quickly as possible and deciding to serve justice themselves. Well, at least on top of him being arrested and charged. Now, normally a lot of people would say you don't hold court or trial in the streets. But there's some circumstances where technically it's not right to do it. But being human, you can kind of understand it. Kind of pretty sure any man, not even just man, but any parent or someone who has a cousin, sister, etc., or even brother, because these type of dudes really don't discriminate nowadays. Everybody get it. Well, if you have this person in your family who's abducted, your loved one who's abducted, and then on top of that, you find out that they've been essayed or raped. And see, the crazy thing about this is that it wasn't just him. He passed the girl over to one of his homeboys, and they both had a gay old time, raping this young lady. So, it's truly understandable, and the majority of us can probably understand why the family and friends decided to basically go to this dude's ass. You see his face. It was already swollen beforehand, but they put a couple extra knots on it. And to be honest with you, I was hoping that it was a misunderstanding, that maybe this dude actually noticed the person from missing people's posters or social media and was trying to do the right thing and bring this child back to her family. I guess that was just wishful thinking. That obviously wasn't the case. So yes, Mr. Antonio Randolph was severely beaten, and rightfully so. Now it's time for his real hell to start. See, when he goes to jail, and then especially prison, these type of crimes are crimes that are truly frowned upon. For some odd reason, you can be a murderer, a drug dealer, be involved in domestic violence. But something about SAing, especially a child, you're giving yourself basically a death sentence. And your time is going to be the hardest time to deal with than any other criminal. Because you're going to have to look over your shoulder every single day. And you're going to have to sleep on your side with your back to the wall. Because there's going to be some payback in the literal sense of what you did to this young lady. And hopefully they find your homeboy too so he can get it. So for those individuals who feel like jail may not be enough, prison may not be enough, I promise you, he would rather be dead than to experience what he's about to experience most likely for, if not the rest of his life, at least 10 to 15 years. If anything, he may decide to take himself out before the sentence is even over, or once he even gets a taste of what his experience is going to be. Now, I'm actually interested in hearing about or learning about how this whole thing even transpired. These type of dudes are basically all around you, and you won't even know anything about it. On top of what he's done, or what he was recently caught doing, it's also come out that he's done this in the past. Because someone from the past actually saw his face on the news, and she remembered that this was the guy that essayed her. Now, he's 37 right now. I don't feel like doing math. Allegedly, that happened in 1999. So maybe 13, 12. Now, even though it's disgusting regardless, that wouldn't be... Well, let me not even go that far because it depends on how old this child was. So yeah, it's just as bad. But he's not new to this, and I'm pretty sure that there's been many times between that point and this most recent incident, whereas he's done this to multiple little girls, and maybe even little boys. And so you'll have this type of guy that's right next to you, most likely in your family. But for some odd reason, when it comes to us as black folks, we don't want to acknowledge it. We want to keep it swept under the rug. We don't want everybody in our business. So a lot of times the young ladies in our families, they go through a lot. There's been many times where I've had discussions with black women who at one time were little girls, and many of them have a story about that weird uncle or cousin that took playing house a little too far. Or that uncle that promised them some type of treat if they come sit on his lap, which eventually leads to other things. But also the common thing that went along with those incidents or discussions, they would always tell their mothers. And the mothers would normally just brush it off. Oh, that's just how your uncle is. He don't mean anything by it. You don't need to tell nobody else outside of this house what happened, because we don't need everybody in our business. So in essence, a lot of times, those young ladies will serve the predators on a silver platter. And see, this is why we have to do a better job of protecting our children. Not only our daughters, but our sons also. Because there's a predator lurking around every corner. There's a predator, multiple predators in everyone's family. You want your child to be comfortable enough to be able to come to you, knowing that you're going to do your best to keep them safe, and you at least believe them and look into whatever they're telling you is what's going on. Because these type of men will destroy a girl once she becomes an adult. This is really the reason why you'll have a lot of promiscuous women, little girls at an early age. Because little boys aren't experienced enough to try to expose them to this type of thing. An experienced person got their hands on them at an early age, and it's stuck with them for the rest of their life. Sometimes they don't realize that they are damaged mentally. But that's the only thing that can come out of a grown-ass man doing this to a little boy or girl. So keep your kids close. And more importantly, teach your kids about what's appropriate and what's inappropriate. Because a lot of times they don't even know, because nobody's taught them. Teach them that they're not allowed to be touched. This place, that place, any other place. Let them know what to do if that, for some odd reason, happens. God forbid if it does happen. Make sure you take them serious. Once again, hit that like, share, and sub button. Till next time, I'm out.
New tonight, a Milwaukee man is charged with repeatedly raping a 13-year-old girl and keeping her in a basement. Prosecutors say 37-year-old Antonio Randolph met the girl at a Northside gas station and took her to his grandmother's basement. That's where prosecutors say he forced her to have sex several times. According to the criminal complaint, the girl was, quote, free to walk around but confined to the basement. Investigators say when she asked to use the defendant's phone to call her parents, he refused. Prosecutors also say Randolph loaned the girl to an individual known as Fat, who also raped her. Randolph is being held in the Milwaukee County Jail on a $50,000 bond.